Hey, everybody, listen. It's Saturday. It's trending topics. If you here with me, I appreciate you and welcome into the building. Listen, in Jersey, it's raining. It's been raining all day. It's been raining all week. I'm not quite sure when the rain is going to clear up, but it has been raining. But last night I watched, if y'all have Prime, Amazon Prime, and you get the movie channel, like their streaming system. I watched a good movie last night on Prime. It's called G20 with Viola Davis, and I happen to love Viola Davis. She's the president, and they're trying to take her life. It's a similar theme that a lot of these movies have when somebody is president. That somebody's always trying to take the president's life, but it's a good movie. So if you want a movie to watch, I'll probably put a little something on the community page later on today. It's a good movie to watch. Okay. So anyway, listen, it's Saturday night. It's trending topics. Okay. We got stuff to talk about. The title's called Unfit, Unfair, and Unbelievable. And before I get into tonight's whole topic, I will say this. Y'all don't get along too well with the newbies, huh? When the newbies click the link, y'all a little rough. Y'all be on the newbies. But listen, guys, anybody could click that link and come through if you want to have a conversation with us. We don't bite. We're pretty fair. But you know what? You got to be prepared. Catch the train. Don't catch feelings. Buckle your seatbelt. Be prepared when you say something out of your mouth that you might be challenged. It's just what it is over here on the Diva train. But anyway, guys, let's get into today's topics. Like I said, the title is called Unfit, Unfair, and Unbelievable. They show us the letter that, Wendy Williams' doctor at the time sent to Wells Fargo to her financial advisor that landed Wendy up in a conservatorship. And I said to myself, has anybody heard of HIPAA? Did this doctor get permission to send to a financial advisor Wendy Williams' medical condition? If anything, why wasn't a letter just sent straight to the judge? But it was sent to Wells Fargo so Wells Fargo can go to the judge and say, listen, she's unfit. We need somebody to help handle Wendy's money. This whole guardianship and the way it came about with Wendy is shady as you know what. And there's a saying, what happens in the dark will come out in the light. And there's another one that says, what happens in the wash, when it goes in the wash, if it don't come out in the wash, it's going to come out in the rinse. If it don't come out in the rinse, it will come out when you dry it. You ever wash clothes and you left money in it? And you don't even know, you don't see it when it's washed, it done wash, it rinsed and everything, you throw it in the dryer. Next thing you know, you taking the clothes out the dryer, they go $5, they go $2, they go $3. I seen it all the time. My son is infamous for leaving money in his pocket. All the time. And I said, I guess this is my money for folding your clothes and taking your laundry from out the dryer. The truth will always come out eventually. You can't hide or run from the truth. You know why that judge was so nasty the other day? Because she knows that all of this exposure, the truth is going to come out and that judge may end up in jail along with the guardian. And maybe the people from Wells Fargo also. Shady boots is an understatement. But we're going to talk about it and we're going to get into it. I'm going to tell you the 2-sentence letter. That was a hot, stinking mess from a doctor. If you claim your client wasn't making right decisions, why was your client walking the streets in the first place? You as a doctor should have had your client committed. People are wild. We got to watch ourselves day and night. Look high, look low. People are taking advantage of people. And everybody, and I'm only giving this reference because it's a reference we can understand. Everybody's like, Diddy's the devil, Diddy's the devil, Diddy's the devil. Wells Fargo's the devil. That guardian is the devil, and that judge is the devil. Taking advantage. Then we're going to talk about Mike Jeffries from Abercrombie and Fitch. You notice how they did very similar things to what Diddy is being accused of, and might have even been worse. But you notice how there's no sprinklings on the ground? You don't hear about multiple lawsuits. Everything with Mike Jeffries and his partner and the other person that was helping them is under the rug. They'll definitely be able to get a fair trial. Because you heard about it and then you didn't hear no more about it. So Mike Jeffries is in his 80s. And now all of a sudden he was diagnosed with dementia. How convenient is that? So now they're saying he's not even competent enough to stand trial. This man went, before he was accused, he was still walking the street, hanging out, doing his thing, doing whatever he wanted to do. Buying his Starbucks and whatever else he wanted to do. Now he's been accused. They got the ankle bracing on him, and now all of a sudden he's not in his right mind. He got dementia. Hot stinking mess. We're going to talk about it though. Then we're going to talk about, I believe her name is Monique Smith. You know, when you live with your parents, when you lived a decent life, and you know, good is relative to whoever you ask, right? I'm going to say good life, but you know, there's no perfect parents. None. Remember that YouTuber, I think her name was Ruby something? Acting like the perfect family on social media, and we found out she was a whole terror. No perfect parents. But when you wake up and find out that the people that was raising you, not only was they nasty, mean, and disgusting, but you find out that that ain't even your real family. You was abducted. You was stolen. And the saddest part about the story is they claim that nobody ever claimed her missing. Imagine being tortured as a child, and the person you thought was your mother, you find out later on that wasn't your mother. And Lisa, in her case, she got an understanding why she was treated so badly. Very sad. Well, now that movie is going to be on Lifetime tonight. Okay? So anyway, guys, y'all know what I need in the chat because I'm about to bring the people on in the building. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It's Saturday Night Trending Topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is Unfit, Unfair, and Unbelievable. We got Wendy Williams, okay? And this thing is, as the story goes on and on and on, more people are being exposed, and I'm here for it, and I'm going to talk about it. And I can't wait to the day when they say Wendy Williams is free from this guardianship. And then we got to find out, where's Wendy's money? That could be the next Lifetime documentary. Where's Wendy's money? $55 million. Where's her money? And let me say this, and let me be very clear. A lot of people want to say before, oh, her karma, her karma, her karma. Let me tell you right now, and let's be clear. A major portion of YouTube channels, whether they want to admit to it or not, are doing what Wendy Williams did. Wendy Williams laid the groundwork for a lot of what these YouTubers are doing today, including myself. She laid the groundwork. So she got karma to her. Well, darn it, everybody on YouTube got some karma coming too. So holler to Wendy Williams. And I pray to God she gets out of this nasty, despicable guardianship. If she needs an overseer, she needs an overseer. But this guardianship is disgusting. Then we got the Mike Jeffries and the Monique Smith's Lifetime story. Let me bring the people on in. Hey, in my opinion.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Wayne. Hey, Katrina. Hey, Tay Tay.
Hey, panel. Hey, chat.
Hello.
Hit the like button, everybody. Hit the like button. The D will be working Monday through Sunday. I work darn near 7 days a week, y'all. Hit the like button and help Diva out. I'm trying to hit 40K by the end of April. My goal is 40K by the end of April. Put it in the chat for me, Katrina, please. 40K by the end of April. So hit the like button, tell a friend, share the video. Let's get into it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the Wendy Williams story. I'm just like, this thing is just get crazier and more unbelievable to me as the time goes on. So let me go ahead and share a screen. So that's it. Here's the alleged letter used to lock Wendy Williams into a guardianship. Wendy Williams has been living under guardianship since May 2022. At that time, the courts appointed Sabrina Morrissey, a non-family member, as the TV host's guardian. In recent months, though, Wendy and her relatives have been advocating for her release from the restrictive arrangement. Their efforts have sparked the hashtag Free Wendy movement. Now the Shade Room has an exclusive look at the letter that led to the guardianship. Here's what Wendy Williams' guardianship letter says. Sources close to Wendy Williams shared a letter that allegedly played a key role in locking the host into her current situation. On January 20th, 2022, Wendy's psychiatrist, Rami, wrote a letter to her financial advisor, Lori Schiller, which was then submitted to her bank, Wells Fargo. That same month, the bank froze her funds and began pushing for a temporary financial guardianship. By May 2022, the court sided with the bank and approved the arrangement, escalating it to full guardianship. Meanwhile, the alleged letter from January is exactly 2 sentences long, and neither of them addresses the TV host by her full name. Ms. Williams has been my patient for over a year now. Over the last 6 months, she's been unable to make reasoned decisions, and her insight and judgment are severely impaired, the letter states. Now, that's the TM Shade Room post. That's the letter. They kind of blurred out everything. But, I saw the full letter without the blurring out there. And it shows the doctor's practice and his name, the Institute of Integrated Psychiatry. Now, my thing is, if your patient has been in distress for 6 months, sir or ma'am, because I don't know, which one, but why didn't you have your client in a facility? You should lose your license. Sources claim guardianship was a premeditated group effort. A source close to the situation tells the Shade Room that this letter was instrumental in getting the guardianship approved. Additionally, the source claims that the document reflects a premeditated effort to undermine Wendy Williams' independence. These 2 sentences from a doctor shouldn't have been enough to take away someone's rights. The document should never have been shared with a financial advisor or a bank, the source said. Furthermore, the source believed the guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, was pre-selected and not part of a list of court-appointed guardians. The Shade Room was also told that Wendy's attempts to fire her then financial advisor, Lori, and then manager, Bernie Young, led to manipulation with the threat of guardianship. Ultimately, the source thinks Lori and Bernie schemed the guardianship plan together and noted Young's arrest for fraudulent use of Wendy's coins. For content in March 2022, Wendy blasted Bernie Young for allegedly using her credit cards to pay attorney fees. She hired him in 2019 after dropping her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter, from the manager role. I know for a fact Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me, Williams said at the time. That was done with my American Express card. Bernie Young, you're no good. Advocate, Yahoo Entertainment confirmed that a review of documents showed 2 credit card charges in January 2022. This reportedly happened before Wells Fargo froze her accounts. The first charge was reportedly for $10,000 and went to New York law firm specializing in healthcare law. The second payment reportedly went to the psychiatrist who wrote the letter to Wendy's financial advisor. Ain't that a mess? Advocate says Wendy initially asked for guardianship. In March, People published a report citing Wendy Williams' healthcare advocate who explained that Wendy initially requested the guardianship. Gina Lisa told the outlet that the TV host wanted the arrangement but wasn't aware of its limitations. She simply wanted her finances protected from misuse by her ex-husband, son, or any other parties. Now she has no access to a cell phone or the internet. She also can't decide where to live or how to use her funds. Wendy can't vote, marry, select her doctors, receive any visits she wants, or travel outside of the state. All of that and more requires the approval of Sabrina Morrissey or a judge. She wanted to make sure nobody's in her money and she would be fine, Gina Lisa said. She kind of felt like, hey, I have the court. They're going to sign me a money person. I'm going to be good. In no way did she think that her whole life was going to be taken away from her. Gina Lisa added, you have no rights. Somebody in prison has more rights than a person put under a guardianship. Though no date has been set, Wendy has floated the idea of taking the matter to trial. She's hoping a jury can determine whether the guardianship should continue. Williams has reportedly hired famous celebrity lawyer Joe Tocopina for the gig. Listen, this is sad. That letter is horrible. And as a doctor, I don't know how that even happened. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, how did you send Wendy's medical business to a bank? In my opinion, your thoughts?
Um, so this was a scheme cooked up, and there was a lot of people in there engineering it and getting the pot stirred. It feels like not only are we breaking HIPAA laws, okay, by releasing this information without consent, because she wasn't under guardianship when we went to court or when they released this information. So now you done broke HIPAA laws and everything. I think Wendy needs a deep dive into everything that has happened. And when she get out of this thing, she needs to sue everybody that's involved. I already knew Bernie was a crooked dog when he was up there using her American Express card and she blasted him. But I do feel like he was taking a little bit more than that. That was all she realized that he was taking. He took more than that. And that financial advisor, as soon as she said she was finna fire her, she went to Wells Fargo and got them on board. I just didn't like none of this from the beginning. Um, Whereas Wendy thought she was getting somebody to help her with her funds, she was signing over everything to the courts and Sabrina. And I feel like they knew what they was doing and they didn't tell her. They made sure not to get no full explanation from her, letting her know that, hey, you're gonna be up under conservatorship and you ain't gonna have no rights whatsoever. Because she don't even have the right to vote. It's sad and it's pathetic.
It's very sad. I'm glad to see that, she's able to be getting out with some friends. I'm trying to see if I'm showing this right. So her ex-producer and her husband, there they are, having, a little lunch out with Wendy in New York, Hudson Yards, New York. So I'm happy that Wendy is starting to get out with friends and that they're allowing her out a little bit. This is, just true friendship. So I'm glad she is getting out. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, I hope they do some kind of forensics audit on from the time Sabrina took a guardianship, the time the judge got involved, the lawyer got involved. I like to see how much their worth has gone up.
Mm.
I mean, Wendy's wealth go down, theirs go up. And when you work with that kind of money, it's a paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
Just nobody's looked into it. I've said from day one that it's a scam. Now I like to see them do some kind of forensic audit on all these people who's dipping into Wendy's money, because their wealth shouldn't have grown a whole lot because it's just a job. But if their wealth has gone up in the millions while Wendy's has gone down, they need to be checked. And I think that's what's happening. I think they scrambling, trying to hide some of that money. They scrambling,
Mm-hmm.
because they know it's good. And the first when y'all said Taco Pino got on it, I said, I think this gonna be selling a few months. I don't think it's gonna take that long. Cause I think once they dive into it, they're gonna find out. I'm just hoping that they don't try to cover their tracks so bad that Wendy happens to have an accident someplace
Mm-hmm.
because they want to shut her up. They want to shut her up. The more she talks, the more people see how sane she is. Now they're the ones put out that she was one step from the grave, just about, and now she's returned. And when people's like, "Oh my God, I thought she was just about." I know when I first heard it, I thought she was like, "Wow, this is it. This really is true." Somebody lied. Somebody lied. And why did they lie? Why did Sabrina have to lie to say that she was incapacitated and she wasn't? What's the purpose of keeping her hidden? If she's just, oh, she can go where she wants, she can do this, she can do that. But then you can tell her who she can go out to eat with. And then threaten the family, her niece, if you don't shut up, I'll sanction you. Yeah. So something has to come to a head because before somebody get hurt, that's all I'm saying. Before somebody get hurt, whether it be the judge, whoever, all I can do is say, remember the CEO at United Healthcare.
I think that was wrong. What happened to that CEO? Tay, your thoughts?
I think it was wrong too, Diva. But what I'm saying is that other people who are upset, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
Somebody,
but people need to handle their upsetness a little bit better, like taking the court. I don't. What happened to that CEO was horrific. Yeah.
right? We know they do, but when it don't, that's what I'm saying. They're playing a dangerous game. They're messing with people, and people who really love Wendy, somebody might come out. Sure, it's
Yeah. Well,
gonna be wrong.
let's pray they don't. Let's pray they don't. I want to
Pray,
take
okay.
your thoughts.
Well, I agree with Wayne what he said because Sabrina and whoever with her just a plain greedy that they want to keep Whitney from her family. This is a hot mess right here. I said free Whitney, free Whitney. That's all, Diva.
Thank you, Katrina. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is with this doctor. How you summarize something in two sentences and saying this woman is not capable of thinking for herself? I don't see no summary of your diagnosis. I don't see no points where you had her come into your office, do no evaluation, do no analysis. You write two sentences and that gets people to be over her money. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. These people are watching Lifetime movies because I promise you this was a Lifetime movie. They probably gave him his little money allegedly, because I don't know for sure.
No,
Probably
they said
gave him.
in the article they did.
That's all. There you go. I'm telling you, these folks is watching Lifetime movie because this is a. I can guarantee you, this is a Lifetime movie. This is ridiculous. I'm still at the point where I'm a grown tail woman and I can't go nowhere. And this is money I made myself. And you telling me how I spend it, where I go, where I sleep. I gotta come back home. Well, not even home. I gotta go back into this room, stay in this room, no computers, no phones. Oh my God. Even prisoners sneak phones in. Convicts have phones. They even have TVs. They have computers. They can get to the computers. This woman is worse than being a convict. This is ridiculous. You telling me what I could do? I hope these lawyers, I hope this lawyer take them to the task. I hope he goes down the whole line. I hope he stripped their spine out. Because this is spineless. Because they don't have any spines. And like Wayne said, they scrambling now to try to hide that money. They're not going to put that money in no bank. They ain't that stupid. They lining that money up, probably got it in a safe and dug it in the backyard somewhere. These people are relentless. And it doesn't make any sense. You taking somebody else's money. Go be over somebody else's conservatorship that needs it. Leave Wendy alone. Yes, Wendy has addictions. We know this. And can't nobody make you sober but yourself. But regardless, if I want to drink up my money, this is my money. I made it. I can drink what I want to drink. I'm a grown tail woman. You can't tell me what to do. You can't make nobody be sober unless they want to be sober. And if Wendy want to get out and go drink or do whatever she wants to do, she's earned the right to do it. That's her money. If that's what she wants to do, then that's what she do. You have no right to tell me that I can't do this. You still, I mean, because nobody, like I said, nobody makes the person sober. That person has to make their own self sober. But that's all I got, Diva.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I listen. I don't want her to go back out and drink. But I do believe that she has the right to, she should have the right to be free. Obviously, before that, it was a train wreck. She was asleep in the Louis Vuitton store in New York. It was a lot going on, and we saw that, what was going on Where's Wendy Williams, the documentary on Lifetime. But this right here, I think is over the top and it's just too much. I'm just praying for the best for Wendy because I just think that, it's just not a good look. Hold on.
Diva, this letter didn't get her diagnosed. This wasn't the letter that got her diagnosed for this.
No, that particular letter, that man that wrote it, according to the article, he got paid. So
I
they all
figured
have
that.
a vested interest in this thing. This is a mess.
Okay.
Anti-Afro, oh, you're in the building. What would you like to say?
Hello, everyone. I would like to provide some clarity. I'm not here to be adversarial. I'm just trying to provide clarity about what happened. Okay, so the banks have the legal obligation. If they see suspicion, they can only write for a suspected incapacitation. They can ask the court to investigate. They can't take the word of the Lori Schiller lady because she's not a professional. So Lori Schiller had to get a psychiatrist or a psychologist to write a letter so they can move forward with that petition. The bank can only ask the court for permission to hold the account while the court looks into things. That's just to get the account temporarily frozen. So when they sent the paperwork to the court looks at it and they decided that Wendy needed to go through the process of being evaluated. That process takes 2 to 3 months. It's no one but a neurologist can determine someone has dementia. And in New York, because I looked up the law, it takes 2 neurologists. And it has to be 2 neurologists and neuroradiologists. Those are the specialists that read the brain scans. And there's a whole bunch of other professionals that review, like a speech pathologist, physical therapist, occupational therapist, all her doctors. They put all those reports together. They do all these tests. It takes 2 to 3 months because you got to go to different appointments.
But
They
see,
are the ones that.
before you continue, let me interject and say this. Clearly, this was a scheme set up by this Lori Schiller, the
Right.
financial advisor, and the other manager that Wendy had, because she wanted to fire them. The one was caught using her credit card without her authorization. So this is nothing here was done legal. You're telling us what legally should have been done. That's fine. But this was all a scam and a setup because, like La Soul said, that psychiatrist on that 2-sentence letter didn't even use no proper codes or anything like that, okay? Diagnosis code, procedure codes, none of that. But in addition to that, who sends a letter to the bank? If anything, the lawyer, thank you, we're talking about Bernie. Thank you, King. If anything, The judge would say, well, I need to hear from the doctors, not the doctor sending it to Lori, the financial advisor. That letter was addressed to Lori. No, this is a scam. This is nonsense. They railroaded Wendy, and now they're trying to cover their tracks. Because my thing is, if you say she got dementia, you say she's incapacitated, you say she don't know what she's talking about. Why are you afraid that she go out with her friends? Why are you afraid that she talked to a lawyer? Why are you afraid that she's talking to the press? That will prove your point. If she's so incapacitated and don't know who she's talking about, let her talk to everybody.
Okay, I want to take just one final thing. What I'm trying to say is she went to a whole battery of doctors at Will Cornell. She went to Will Cornell to get those assessments.
So they say.
No, she went
She
to the
only
2 to
got
3.
one doctor.
Okay, excuse me. I'm not being, let me just say this.
Mm-hmm.
That just got the process started. The reason why I'm telling you, because I work with people who have dementia, it takes 2 to 3 months for those tests. That was just the initial stage. Just to get things started, the court decided, because people keep saying, Sabrina, this, those doctors at Will Cornell are probably sweating bullets and don't want their names ever to get out. Wendy went to a whole medical facility to get those tests. Will Cornell is the facility. And let me, if you don't mind, Diva, I'm going to post the link to that lawsuit that was filed. It has information about how she got tested. I don't know if anyone saw that. And it spells it out where she got the testing. They are the ones that diagnosed her. That was just to get the bank account frozen. There was a whole different process that went on after that. So I'll post that link underneath this live stream. Read that lawsuit, and it talks about who diagnosed her. Will Cornell Medical Center, right there in New York.
All right. So I'll continue on.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a lot. I'm wishing Wendy the best. Hashtag free Wendy. Put it in the chat. So now let me go ahead and move into the next story. This Mike Jeffries. Let me see. Hold on one second, because I got so much stuff up. I want to click out of some things so I can see it. Okay, let's share this.
Attorneys for the former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Michael Jeffries say he is unable to stand trial in a federal sex trafficking case due to a dementia diagnosis. Jeffries and 2 other men are facing charges linked to the allegations. According to court documents, forensic psychologists diagnosed Jeffries with Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body dementia, and residual effects of a traumatic brain injury. His attorneys are asking the court to place Jeffries in state custody and hospitalize him for treatment for 4 months and evaluate to see if his condition improves.
Well, ain't that confusing?
The message.
Okay. All right, hold on. Let me share screen again. Where's his guardian? Abercrombie Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries ruled unfit for trial in ST case due to his dementia. Former Abercrombie Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries has been declared mentally unfit to stand trial on charges related to an alleged, let me pause this, international ST operation, according to a court filing made public on Thursday. The 80-year-old was arrested in October and charged with organizing sex parties where male models were reportedly coerced into S acts, paid for S, and plied with drugs. In the newly released legal documents, Jeffries' attorney Brian Beaver revealed that multiple medical evaluations over recent months have concluded that Jeffries is suffering from severe dementia, including Alzheimer's disease and other cognitive impairments. News of the court filing was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. Jeffries' conditions has deteriorated to the point that he now requires constant supervision and care, according to one psychiatrist hired by the defense. An expert put forth by the prosecution reached a similar conclusion, stating that Jeffries' condition is almost certain to deteriorate further. In light of these conclusions, Jeffries' legal team has asked the court to hospitalize him for a period of 4 months to assess whether he may eventually be deemed competent to participate in legal proceedings. Prosecutors have not opposed the motion. A spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of New York declined to comment on the matter. Jeffries, who ran Abercrombie from 1992 until his departure in 2014, was indicted this past fall on federal charges of XT and interstate P. Hold on one second. The indictment alleges that Jeffrey, his partner Matthew Smith, and associate James Jacobson orchestrated an international ST operation between 2008 and 2015. The three are accused of luring young men with promises of modeling opportunities, coercing them into attending S events under false pretenses, and subjecting them to non-consensual S acts. Victims who were reportedly given drugs, forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, and had their personal belongings confiscated during these events. The alleged activities took place in locations including New York, the Hamptons, and various international destinations. All three men have pleaded not guilty. Brad Everett, an attorney representing alleged victims in a civil lawsuit against Jeffries, said that his clients will move forward with their case irrespective of the court ruling. We hope he's rehabilitated and faces the penalty he deserves, Edwards told the Journal. Regardless, he cannot and will not avoid liability in civil class action lawsuit. The criminal charges come in tandem with disturbing allegations outlined in a separate civil lawsuit, details of which were first reported by the Post last month. In that case, two aspiring male models filed a lawsuit in Manhattan Supreme Court claiming they were promised high-paying jobs with Abercrombie only to be drugged, armed, and trafficked by Jeffries in his circle. The two men whose identities are being withheld allege that they were required to shave all body hair and endure painful injections intended to prolong their, arousal during the alleged abuse. According to the civil complaint, Jeffrey's associate named James Jacobson recruited the men around 2010 and 2011 and coerced them into private meetings under the pretense of vetting them for modeling opportunities. One of the men was reportedly a teenager at the time. Both were allegedly SA'd by Jacobson before being introduced into the larger scheme. The abuse is said to have occurred at properties in Manhattan and the Hamptons, as well as during international trips, according to their lawyer, Robert Georges. So he seems like he's going to try to get out of standing trial. In my opinion, your thoughts?
No, they shouldn't let him. All of a sudden now he can't remember nothing. He don't know his name. He don't know what he at. He don't know nothing. I don't care. Still lock his ass up. Okay. I feel like I'm tired of these sick SOBs feeling like they can do whatever they want and then thinking they can get away with it just because they got a little money in their pocket. No, freeze their accounts.
That part.
Okay, freeze their accounts. Send their money off to the victims and whoever else. Help the world with their money. Okay, and lock these six SOBs up.
Lock them up. Thank you, in my opinion. Wayne, your thoughts?
Well, you know what this is. Not what you know is who you know.
Mm.
And it's obvious these two guys know people. Okay? They won't pull a Wendy on them.
Come on now, talk about it.
They won't pull that. They know people. They got families. And they got people that will put the judges in place, I'm sure. With that kind of money, you buying everybody. Wendy just didn't know the right people. And it's sad. But they know they couldn't put a mark on these two guys right here. You barely heard anything about them since they announced it. And since they walked away from that court after paying $1 million. You know, it ain't like they not like us. We not like them. That's the problem. We not like them.
Better talk about an anti-Afro. Are you there? Hello? Tay Tay?
Right here, present. Well, I say lock them up forever and lock the key. Don't let them out at all. Because what they do is nasty, disgusting, and they're evil. What they did to the victims right there. They're gonna lie in the bed and they're gonna rest it until they do the right thing. Right there. Because how sick you is in your mind right there. That's all, Diva.
Thank you. Katrina, your thoughts?
Well, Bill Cosby was going blind and they locked him up.
Mm.
So if you locked up, you won't know where you at. Get in the cell. Big Willie will take care of you. Um, and as we said, you losing your mind. You got dementia going on. And Wendy had dementia going on, but like Wayne said, they got people in the right places to palm the grease they palms with the money because I don't think he's got no dementia. Well, Puffy need to come out and say he has dementia then. Since all the rest of them saying they got dementia and they can't remember what's happened, Puffy need to get a certain case of having dementia as well. I mean, like I said, it's not because we don't think Puffy is not guilty or anything like that. But I'm just saying, all these people are the other colors are out walking around. Trump went got the Tate brothers. Come on, be for real. But you got this man locked up, and these people have did just the worst things that he have done. We never seen Puffy do this. We heard the stories, but we only going by hearsay. These men is brought up on allegations when they walking around free. We got the president that got went and got the Tate brothers himself, and we got the president that was accused of SA, and he's walking around. See, Diddy got the wrong color. Because if he had the other color, he'll be out as well. He'll be walking around. He went against the wrong people. And the people that he went against, they're fighting every day to keep him behind bars. Every other day is an allegation against Diddy. And no, I'm not protecting Diddy, so don't come at me in the chat. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, since Gerald Girardi, none of them can remember after you stole all these people money and hurt these people, but now you want people to have sympathy for you because you claiming you got dementia. No, put him in a cell. He won't know he's there. And Big Willie will take care of him. That's all I got.
Whew. Anti-Afro, you there?
Uh, yes, I'm here. I think regardless of what he has, he needs to be locked up. There are medical facilities in the federal system. Take him over there. But he should never be allowed out. And I think the fact that Diddy is locked up, they kept saying he was calling people. They kept bringing phone records saying that he was intimidating people and calling people. They are just trying to find, they're just piling everything on him. New indictments, new indictments, new indictments. I personally think he was set up, Diddy, from the start. And unfortunately, he snapped the bait. I think he did not have to be in this situation. I think a lot of the things that he was doing was personally consensual sex. You can have an orgy if you want to have an orgy, right? You're an adult. Adults can get together and have sex. I just think that he went way too far. That's what I think happened to him, and they're determined to just fry him. I think he did not have to be in the situation that he's in, but they're determined to make an example out of him. But this other guy, he needs to be locked up. Yes, of course, Cassie, obviously, he assaulted her, okay? But the statute of limitations is done with that case. So I don't know what other evidence they have with her, but whatever he did with Cassie, that would not be a life sentence. So I'm not
Yeah.
condoning the assault, but that they said the statute of limitations was over with that, his assault with her.
I don't think I'm not condoning it so either, but you know what? Unfortunately, you got. I never forget. I think his name was what was that football player where he punched his girlfriend out, knocked her out cold in the elevator. Then she married him afterwards.
Ray
Ray
Rice.
Rice.
Twice. He didn't go to jail for life.
Right.
Savannah, your thoughts?
I'm coming
Hold on
in
one
late.
second, Savannah. Let me say this real quick. I'm not making it about race, but it's showing to be about race. These people are white. Diddy is black. These white people are walking around. Diddy is locked up. So it's not me making it about race. It's what's going on in the culture that we see is about race. So I'm not saying I'm not a prejudiced person or racist person, but this is what I see. These people are walking free and have done just the worst things that Diddy have done, and they're walking free and he's locked up. That's the only thing that I'm saying. I'm sorry, Savannah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm coming in late to the conversation, so if I misspeak, or if I'm not understanding the topic, then forgive me. For first and foremost, this being someone from South Florida, and I've been living, my family's from South Florida, been here since the 70s, 80s. We have heard and known of the Epsteins, the Trumps, and the Diddy stories for decades. This is nothing new. Of him, of human trafficking, of children being put in positions that they shouldn't have been put in, and adults taking advantage of children, whether they were black, white, Hispanic, yellow, purple, it don't matter. They were all involved. We cannot ignore the fact that this man did some sadistic things to people, and he knew some powerful players that were also attending these parties, that were also involved in some of these events, and who are not with clean hands. However, they are going to make an example of Sean Combs, and they're not going to allow him to see the light of day again. He knows too many secrets. Uh, but case in point, also look at the behavior of his children now. Their father is accused of some of the most horrific crimes that they are, and the children are still living the life of the rich and famous. And it's all in how their mindset is. They don't know anything else but to be acting in the manner that they are, because that's all their father has ever taught them, is that lifestyle. Um, is this a race issue? I don't think so, although it plays, the race does play into it. Because if you don't think that there were some Caucasian people who are involved there's in these events, not the Diddy parties, but I'm talking the after party events. There was nothing but some powerful people of all colors and races involved in these after party events. So I don't think this is a race issue, but they are going to make an example of him because he has nothing that he can offer them. He doesn't have the money, he doesn't have the power. It's not like a Sean. It's not like Jay-Z. Jay-Z has stronger connections and ties than Sean Combs. And I just think Sean will not be out of jail anytime soon. And he has been playing a dangerous game in these streets for decades. And I just think it caught up to him because he thought he was bigger than the game.
He did.
Savannah, we talking about the Abercrombie and Fitch man.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I'm talking of him too. I'm sorry, the same
Okay,
thing. It's just,
yeah, I quote what you said, Savannah. But let me say this. Yeah, he thought he was bigger than the game because for many years, decades actually, they allowed him to think that way. I will say this. Many people we get so emotional when race comes into the conversation, and over here, I stay as neutral as I can. I really don't, get down with that because I know people get emotional about it. But we got to be clear. When you're a black person, race plays a lot into a lot of things, and it's very unfortunate. And it is very clear to me because, see, the difference with the Diddy case and the Abercrombie and Fitch case, the Diddy case is all 100% alleged, right? outside, everybody's focusing on, well, look what happened to Cassie. Yes, what happened to Cassie was horrific in that video. But let's be clear. Now, one of the charges that he's currently behind jail bars for in the Metropolitan Detention Center, Brooklyn, have to do with that beating. But every time the Diddy situation comes up, and that's what they wanted the public to do, exactly what the public is doing. Every time you mention Diddy, all they talk about is that video of him beating her. Well, I can show you several videos of athletes, NFL, NBA, that are beating the crap and have beaten the crap out of their significant others. They're still playing football. They're still playing basketball. They're still on the streets. And let's be clear, I'm a female. I got nieces. I got a mother. I got sisters. I'm not here for anybody putting their hands on anybody. But I'm making a clear point here. If we're going to have the Diddy conversation, we got to keep it to what the focus is. There is not one charge that he's behind. Come on, agree, Tyreek Hill. There's not one charge that he is currently being charged for that has to do anything with beating on anybody. But do you see the games they play? With this Abercrombie and Fitch guy, if this was Diddy and they said Diddy had dementia, every publication known to mankind would have been running the story and they would have had something on it. With this Abercrombie and Fitch guy, this Mike Jeffries, it was buried in a publication. You don't see it on TMZ. You don't see it on page 6. You don't see it everywhere. What's the clear difference? It's color. We can't ignore that. It's color. It's the clear difference. This man, before he was charged, he was walking around fine, no dementia, living on by himself. All of a sudden, dementia has hit him and it's severe. It's severe. I'm no doctor. I can't say what this man do and don't have, but that's why those other lawyers said, well, regardless of his diagnosis, these civil lawsuits are going to move forward. He's going to pay. And another difference between their case and Diddy case, their case clearly said, because I did the lawsuit on my channel, their case clearly said that they hired, just like Tom Girardi, exactly. Their case clearly said that they hired a security company and said, lock the doors. I told y'all when I first did the Diddy case and people was trying to stab me. They was like, oh, you a Diddy. You being paid by Diddy. I said, did you ever hear one of them said they tried to run out the door and they couldn't run? In this Mike Jeffries case, they said the doors was locked and nobody could get out until Mike Jeffries and his nasty partner said, open the door and let them leave. In Diddy case, they alluded that everybody was drugged up. I told y'all none of them videos showed anybody like that, because if it did, they would have told us already. But they alluded to it. They putting this out there. Oh, he drugged everybody. And they did the 1,000 baby oil, 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And I told y'all over here, if there was a speck of drug in those 1,000 bottles, they would have blew that up on the streets. But everybody's 10 toes down. He oiled me down and then I passed out. And I said to people, if I'm using oil to oil you down, if it's going to penetrate you, it's not penetrating me. The drug, and then I'm getting on top of you, so you ain't capacitated. I wouldn't be too. But they determine and they depend on people not connecting the dots. People are just running with it's 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and he had drugs in the baby oil. You gotta make it make sense. But one thing they know is when they put smut and sensationalism out in the streets, that's what the people going to run with. You never heard where Diddy physically went over to somebody and said, open your mouth, and he forced the drugs down their throat. But in this Mike Jeffries case, they said he was shooting them up in the private area with the Viagra-like medication. I'll put it that way, because we on YouTube. That's forcing. Now, if you talk to anybody in the entertainment world, they tell you forget about a freak off, forget about the after party. They tell you at the party on the sets that drugs is on there like candy for you to partake in. So do I believe there was substances at Diddy's party? Absolutely. Do I believe he was forcing it down everybody's throat? No, because I think a lot of them they take it like I drank my tea. So unfortunately, I have to say this, and I know it's tough for us to do this, but race is always in it. It's always going to be a part of the conversation. Because unfortunately, in this world, we don't know how to treat everybody the same. Race plays a big role in a lot of things. And let me tell you this before I move into the last story.
And we can't do what they do.
That we cannot. Let me say this. When they have, when I find the article, I'm going to either post it on my communication or page or bring it up. It was about maybe 10 years ago. There was a black kid that committed this horrific crime. And then right after, there was a white kid that committed this horrific crime. The white kid, when they caught him, and I think I'm going to say he pal up a school. When they caught him, he was hungry. They took him, they got McDonald's for him. And when they put his story in the paper, they talked about his sad childhood and what happened and this, that, and the other. You know what they said about the black kid? That he was horrific, a monster, a this, a that, and a this, and a that, and a so forth and so on. And he got beat up when they caught him. I'm talking facts here. I'm not talking lies. When I find it, I'll bring it up. They bought this kid McDonald's, and he pal up a school and took many lives. When they found him, he was hungry. I think you.
Was that the church either?
Eva, that was
That was the
Dylan
church?
Roof. Yeah,
Thank you, Anti-Afro. Thank you.
that was Dylan Roof in the South Carolina church.
Yep, thank you.
Look how Rittenhouse, they took him to McDonald's as well. So come on.
So it is a difference. It's sad. But we got a long way to go. Thank you, Stephanie. So I'm going to roll into this last story. Hold on and let me see. And this movie, in case anybody's interested, and for me, it'll be a couple minutes because I think it's coming on 8 o'clock tonight. And it's based on a true story. Let's see this real quick.
When I was a young woman, I discovered my entire identity was a lie. None of these people are my real family. I was kidnapped in the late 60s by my so-called lover.
It doesn't look like you were ever reported missing. What makes you so sure you were abducted?
According to all public records, I do not exist. I'd have to find the truth about our family.
I will go to my grave before I tell you anything.
I may never find the truth.
You have come too far to give up now.
Your family is right in front of you. You can never know the emptiness that I feel.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Not My Family, the Monique Smith story, premieres April 12th at 8, only on Lifetime.
Ooh. Hold on one second. Let me share screen again. Hold on. This is the real live person. Let's hear her speak. Hold on one second. Let me just back this up.
I would always confront, quote unquote, my mom for my identification, and she would just, again, just be very brutal with her language to me. And I just said, forget it. I'm like, you're 28. Why are you asking your mother for your birth certificate? And that's when I went through all the municipals and started getting this information with their different ages, places of birth, different names. She was an alias, and my whole world shattered. Like I'm
So
trying
just explain to people that, I mean, you were abducted as a very young baby, weren't you, in New York?
1 years of age. I was abducted at, by the time I look back, it was 1. So I started
Literally snatched from your cot, weren't you?
Well, this was to me, yeah, because yeah, at 1 years of age, I mean, you only know again what you're groomed to be taught, and that's what happened. That's what happened. So it was just wild, and everyone was in denial. You know, there was a few people who, oh, I thought something was wrong. I really didn't know. No, you played a role in this. You know, and I think they were challenging each other. Like, well, if I tell that you stole this baby, then she's gonna tell that I molested her. You know, so it was almost, you know, this torment between them two. So it was just a horrible experience. So, and I went on a multi-stage search, and I contacted the Salvation Army, who's been around since the early 1800s, who specializes in, you know, homeless people and missing individuals. And they worked with me, and then they sent me an official letter saying, you're Jane Doe, you're a living Jane Doe, we cannot help you. And they sent to me to Missing Persons International, and there was no work there as well. And I just continued to figure out
Your
what
head was spinning at this point. I mean, certainly
my
when
head
you
was
found out.
spinning, and I was trying like the adoption agencies, foster care programs, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, and I was getting turned down back to back to back to back because it was brand new to them.
So, identity hidden. Terrifying true story behind Lifetime's Monique Smith after Jane Doe, who was odd at 4, discovers dark family secret.
The programmatic advertising landscape is the Wild West.
So, brave Monique Smith tells the U.S. Sun how she's fighting for the kids of tomorrow. A woman abducted as a baby before being systematically abused by a fake family hopes a new film about her life will help raise alarm bells about the shocking billion-dollar ST industry. Monique Smith was callously ripped from her crib in New York City when she was just 2 years old and taken to Baltimore by a woman desperate for children of her own, she says. Desperate search for answers. Yet for the next 2 decades, brave Monique, who was raised under a series of different names that severely hindered the search process, was physically and mentally abused by the woman who pretended to be her mother. The woman who Monique refuses to call mom also stood as her uncles consistently emmed and awed her. It took her 28 years to realize exactly what happened, and in the process, she became the longest living person on record. Sadly, her birth mother died before Monique was able to find her. But meeting her sisters after having their lives torn apart for so many years was incredibly emotional. It was beautiful, she told the U.S. Sun. I collapsed into my older sister's arms. I thought I had no origin, family, support, or safety net. It was incredible to be with my real family finally. The U.S. Sun first met Monique at CrimeCon in Orlando 2 years ago, when her heartbreaking story was thrust into the mainstream thanks to a harrowing book about her ordeal and a short HBO documentary. She talked about her despair at seeing a longer film project canned because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but proudly spoke of how her life was dramatically turned around by launching herself into vital advocacy work. Yet this weekend, Lifetime will screen Not My Family, the Monique Smith story, with Lincoln lawyer and Chicago Med star Yala DaCosta in the main role. The now Baltimore-based 59-year-old hasn't seen the finished project, but admits watching her stranger-than-fiction life acted out before her very eyes was pretty intense. When I met people on set, they were crying, she recalled. They knew what I had gone through. Emotional roller coasters. The producers struggled to find child actors to help dramatize the sickening abuse suffered at the hands of her supposed stepmother, with some of the scenes almost tough to watch. I'm almost broke down, Monique admitted, as the memories of the vicious mental and physical abuse all came flooding back. Memories of being smacked so hard as a 6-year-old that the bandages protecting her barely gashed knee came off. Thinking back now how to those darkest of days, she recalls throwaway comments from nasty family members, how they would scold at her to forget about being angry at her chief abuser because she's not your mother anyway. Oh my gosh, she said, that's what they meant. She remembers the woman as like a dictator, malicious and abrasive in handling of everything. She was forced to work as a cleaner when she was just 9 years old. The brutal lifestyle, scrubbing floors and toilets in the evening, severely affected her schoolwork. Monique would routinely fall asleep at her desk. Sometimes something wasn't right. It was like I was her slave, said Monique, who had no idea she'd been ripped away from her birth mother. I would do her hair and clean her home. Sickening abuse. Meanwhile, 2 men who said they were the little girl's uncles were routinely SAing her. Forced to go on a run as a teen, she met people on her travels in Florida who groomed her for S trafficking. A woman she met on the bus initially took the teenagers in before getting her a landscaping job with a man she knew. Some days, however, he would take me around and make me perform certain acts instead of working. She fell into P. I was in sex survival mode, she said. This was when the dark world of ST came into her world. Today, she works fearlessly in the Washington metropolitan area, helping affected families and raising awareness. She talks about kids in 5th grade being taught how to groom classmates and admits one case involved a 16-year-old pregnant pimp. Other horrifying incidents involve callous criminals cutting babies from wounds to sell them. People just need to be believed, she said. I told multiple people at high school that I was being SA'd, but some folk don't want to get involved. Monique says her journey is what kept me alive. Her nightmare took a shocking turn when she returned from her trafficking hell at the age of 28. She wanted to finally stand on her own 2 feet and carve a life out for herself. Yet, with her abuser continually refusing to hand over birth certificates and other documentation, drastic action was taken. The fresh hell continued for a couple of years before return to Maryland beckoned and the hope of a new beginning presented itself. It would shape the rest of her life and finally bring down the appalling human beings who had destroyed her childhood. Fresh start. After the woman she refuses to name continued to decline to hand over the birth certificate, which of course she never had, Monique started digging with authorities. The Department of Social Services and the Board of Education were contacted to locate relevant documentation. They were instructed to dive into the archives and retrieve records that could help release Social Security numbers. Weeks passed without news until one day, an unexpected letter arrived through the post. I nearly collapsed, Monique recalled. One document stated that her birth year was 1966, while another claimed it was 1968. Strangely, the name Monique Smith was absent. As it turned out, the woman had applied for 3 different Social Security numbers under the names Sambali Smith, Sambali Terry, and Sambali Terry. Her listed birth dates were May 11th and May 13th, 1966. It felt like my whole life was crumbling, she confessed. A crushing reality began to dawn on her. She launched a nationwide search, reaching out to both the police and FBI, accusing the woman of having kidnapped her as a baby. The paperwork she eventually received shattered her understanding of her identity, proving that Monique wasn't who she thought she was. They didn't know what to make of it, she said. I spent years chasing after someone called Monique Smith, never realizing that the person was a complete fabrication. The names, the identities, all of it was a lie. It took 2 young years before her name was finally added to the national database. She became missing child number 129, the latest label in her quest for answers. Agonizing truth. Determined, she printed posters and mailed flyers far and wide. The irony wasn't lost on her. Monique was on a nationwide search to find herself. As for the woman who pretended to be a mother, she remained as cruel as ever. She told me to go to hell and that she'd take the truth of what happened to her grave, Monique said. It was the last time she ever spoke to her before she passed away at the age of 77. Monique's search for answers was draining her financially, emotionally, and physically. To keep going, she spent thousands traveling across states, arranging overnight daycare for her children. She knocked on the doors of homeless shelters and even contacted the Salvation Army, clinging to hope that someone somewhere might recognize her story. I got a letter calling me a living Jane Doe, she recalled. They said they never seen anything like it. Determined that her children would one day understand where she came from, Monique began writing a book. At the same time, she reached out to chat show hosts like Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Ricky Lake, hoping her face or voice might strike a chord with someone watching. She contacted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, but even they were at a loss. Eventually, she was listed in Name Us, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, a database typically reserved for deceased individuals, often found in shelters or whose bodies were never claimed. Then everything changed. Hope for the future. Renowned genealogist C.C. Moore entered the picture, piecing together Monique's DNA. She uncovered a lead, a woman in her 60s searching for the death certificate of her baby sister. When I heard, I was like, wow, Monique said, holding back the tears. The woman turned out to be Veronica, her biological sister, who remembered seeing Monique on the bed one day and then gone the next. Then birth mother, a troubled teen mom, had died at just 34. Monique learned she had 7 sisters, each with a different father. With her identity finally unraveling, Monique turned her attention to justice. She wanted accountability, and the people who had tried to erase her punished, but justice was elusive. Maryland police pointed her to New York. New York passed the case back to Maryland. Worse still, the people who had hurt her, who had stolen her, were all dead. Even the woman who raised her under pretenses had passed away the same year Monique discovered her real name. She has always wondered why she was treated so appallingly, especially considering a woman's desperation to have children was so extreme she decided to steal one. It must have been mental illness, Monique said. She will settle down this weekend to watch her film for the first time as a successful businesswoman and tireless advocate for children, for the kids of tomorrow. Her push for change has seen a new missing person law passed in Maryland. She has also helped establish a day in the local area to commemorate and raise awareness. Every May 25th is now Missing Children's Day. I didn't know that. Trafficking is a $150 billion industry, Monique concluded. I want people to speak up. It's horrible how people can easily violate human rights, but I am desperately trying to make a difference. I don't want other kids to suffer like I did. Now, if you can understand why I tied all of these stories together, this is so sad. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Oh wow. She turned her pain into a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I ain't mad at her. She didn't stop fighting. She didn't give up at all. She was determined to find out who she was and where she came from, and I am glad that she found out. As for those people that did this to her, trust me, you gonna get they gonna get theirs, okay? They may not be here in the prison world, but they gonna get theirs in this afterworld, and it ain't gonna be nothing pretty. I really think it's sad that God was trying to tell this lady she didn't need no kid, and she went and took one, only to let this kid be harmed, to be mistreated, and to be left alone. It's really sad. You know, we talk about these women that let their own kids be harmed, but for you to knowingly take somebody else's kid and you still don't protect them, you a low down dirty individual. Now that's the one that Pusha should have called a low down dirty individual. That's a low down dirty individual. And I pray every day that she's in that grave, it's burning her. That's all, Diva.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts?
Unless I missed something, how do you go missing like that and they claimed the lady kidnapped her, and the mother was young. I mean, wasn't somebody looking for this child? Was the mother complicit in giving her child up to somebody? I mean, for nobody not to, if the mother didn't say anything and went all this time, I could see why nobody knows anything. But they're saying she stole the baby. I don't get it. Did she go in these people's houses? Because the little girl, she said that she saw the baby and then the baby was gone. I mean, did the woman go in the house and take the baby? I don't think so. I think maybe the mother gave the child up. I think the mother gave the child up, never said anything to anybody. Because you would think she'd be looking, somebody stole my baby. Where's my baby? That would be national news.
Yeah.
But if she didn't and just gave her child up to somebody, that's what I think. That's what it sounds like happened.
She could have, because she said the mother had all these kids. She was young. All of them had different fathers.
And this woman probably told her, oh, I can take care of her. I can do this. I can give her a better life. It's better for, I can see somebody kind of smoothing over a young person like that and telling them, you're doing the right thing by giving her up to me. So I don't think the baby's kidnapped. I think the mama gave her up. I'm done.
Anti-Afro?
Yes, I know she had a mission, but I can't help but think she survived because she never found those people. No telling what they were into. So I think she probably saved herself by not finding them. And I'm so glad she stayed on this positive mission and didn't go into self-destruction. But I'm thinking, thank God she didn't find those people she was looking for. Couldn't have been a positive thing to reconnect with them. That's what I was thinking the whole time. There's a reason why there was no reconnection.
Yeah. Oh.
But she sounds like, again, it's not easy. It sounds agonizing, but on balance, she made the right decisions. Because you see so many situations like this, pure self-destruction, completely self-destruction. But I'm glad it turned out the way it did. And hopefully she continues to get, more and more peace out of the situation. But I'm glad the situation is the way it is. She survived. She's lived a pretty long life. And I hope she continues to be proud of how she handled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's even sadder is how she said she told the people in the school and nobody helped her. Tay, your thoughts?
And they don't want to get involved to help her right there. That's like telling you, I'm my own business right there. I can't help you. You have to help yourself right there. I applaud that she came out to share her story right there. Because a mother like that, you stood by and you see your brother do that to your own daughter right there. At age 5 years old, 6 years old, you had her work down, clean tables, clean the floor, clean the bathroom right there. And what you doing nothing. That's a mother right there. What kind of mother are you? Actually, you don't deserve the mother type. I mean, the best mother of the year award. You don't. And I'm just happy for Monique that she find her bird sister right there. She stayed positive. She stayed in the right way right there. Do not let the negative, all that stuff get into her spirit right there. That's all, Diva.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Q, Good point. And then, and back then, people did deplorable things to black girls, and nobody spoke up. The girls would be blamed for being fast or too grown, or that's what they get. I bet her mama died missing her. Oh gosh, Katrina, your thoughts?
I bet her mama sold her. Because I don't get it. Nobody put out anything saying this child is missing. Like either what Wayne said, she gave her daughter away or she sold her daughter. Because there was no missing reports that she was ever missing. Something is not right there. And then, like you said, back in the day, they would say she's being fast and all that type of stuff. But if you telling the teacher that you're being abused and they didn't report it, that's a sad situation on them. That's a very sad situation because most of the time your guidance counselors, you talk to them or whatsoever, and they would try to help. That was so. I hate that she went through all that. It's ridiculous, but it looked like she came out stronger on the other end, and that's a blessing because it could have went the other way. But I'm thinking that Mama either sold her or gave her away, like Wayne said, because there was no ads. Nobody even knew that she was missing, and that's what I don't understand. Like, did the biological mother, did she never talk to her mom? I mean, the mom never asked where your daughter at? This is so crazy. Nobody never asked where your child is at. That's a weird story. Cause back, most of the time, well, I don't know, I guess some people not. But I'm just saying, the grandmama never asked where your daughter at. What happened to your daughter? Nobody never been concerned about what happened to this child. So did she sell the child, or did she tell the folks that the dad took the child away? This is a sad situation, but I'm glad this woman came out stronger on the other end. I hope she gets a lot of counseling because I'm quite sure she needed it. And the thing that she came out on this other end, and she's trying to help people that was in that same situation. That's very, very honorable. And I hope she get all the aid, which is the president trying to stop the aid for helping people and stuff like that. But anyway, I hope she get all the aid and the process that she need to make sure that another person that comes to her, that she can help them better than the way the people helped her. This sad on so many levels. And like I said, I don't know what type of mom she had. I don't care if she did have all the other children. My grandma had 15 kids and raised every last one of them. So when she's saying that she had these other children, and then this child realizing like, well, why my mama didn't keep me? Why was I given away? Why was I separated from the family? That plays a lot into a child's mind. And when a child get abused or have something happens to them, most of the time their brains stop at that age. But um I just wish the best for this lady because that's just horrible. No child deserves to go through that. No child. That's all I got.
Yeah, thank you. Savannah, your thoughts?
So I took a different take on this story. I, God be the glory that she is as strong as she is now, and what a horrific truth to find that, and whether she sold her or gave her away or she was taken, the bottom line is that this baby was not protected. This young lady and this woman was has suffered so many injustices and abuse and throughout her life, and she just knew, that inner voice, that gut feeling that we all have when something isn't right. And I'm so glad that she listened to that inner voice, and she had the strength of the Lord to keep finding her truth. um, I earlier today I had seen a documentary on Erica Alexander, Pam from In Living Single, and her mission that she's doing now. And when I listened to this story, it ties so much to that documentary. And she said something that really ties in and moved me. She said that it is so easy for young Black women to become invisible. And when there was a story that she was following and she put out, it was the Tamika Houston story. And Tamika became missing during the time of the Lacey Petersons and Natalie Holloways. But they didn't, everything we saw in the media was the two Caucasian women, but nothing about the young Black women that were missing at that time. So I can believe that this young lady, this baby was taken, and if the mother probably did report it, but it's not a priority, and especially back in the 80s, 90s, that we don't have the technologies that we had today. How many stories have we not heard of people dressing up as nurses and going into nurseries and taking babies? And there was two famous cases not too long ago of young Black women who were taken and come to find their biological mothers years later when they were in their teens or as adults. So I can believe that this child was taken, and the birth mother probably was overwhelmed being a teenage mom with um, a, a a handful of youngins. So I just I'm gonna follow the story. I am gonna see it on Lifetime tonight, but it ties into what Erica's mission is. I can believe it is very easy for the voices of young Black women to be dismissed and not heard. So I can believe that this baby was taken.
Yeah, so sad. Where was I at? In my opinion, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, so I think the main part of this is in the 60s, which is when she was born, because I think she said her birthday was May the 12th and then May the 13th of
Mm-hmm.
1966.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those times, they didn't keep accurate records on us. I know my mom was left on somebody's doorstep, and they had to make her a birth certificate. Still don't know who her birth parents is, and she searched. She paid private detectives and everything to look for her. I think it's a lot because they for a while we was not classified as human. Um, it's sad, but that's our history. That's our lineage. I'm glad that she was able to find her sister. I think it was a lot. Clearly, this mama didn't live long because she was suffering in silence. Um, it wasn't a big trust issue with the police neither back in those times because we were still in what we call the trying to get free era. So it was unfortunate that she was born in that time, which lends us to know why she had so many kids too. She could have been violated. We don't know all these issues, but I'm just saying back in those times, it was a lot going on. A lot of people trying to be freed. I just can't say that this mama didn't try at all. I just know we didn't get the light put on us back in those times like it is now. And we still don't get the light that we should. We get far less Amber Alerts and everything else. And if y'all remember, a few years back, they wanted to take the Amber Alert and call it the Ebony Alert for us, even more dividing us. So I just feel like sometimes we hear older stories like this that take place before the 70s, you have to take it with a grain of salt because all the information is a little discombobulated. It's just the time and era that we was in. That's all, Diva.
Whew. I am gonna watch her story. I don't know if I'm catching it tonight, but you know, Lifetime. If you do know Lifetime, they repeat a lot. So they may do another rendition of it again, or probably can on demand it. Either way, it's just very sad.
9 o'clock.
Okay. It's just very sad. But you know, she stays strong. So she been through a lot. She was abused in the fake family, didn't know her name. Then she was used as a P. Then she was, you know, taken with the S trafficking. And then this woman had no redemption. She wouldn't even tell her. She went to her grave and wouldn't tell this girl who she really was and what happened. It's a shame. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all spending some time with me on Saturday night. I thank you so much for being here. Y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit the like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. I'm going to stay connected to these stories and let you know what happened. I'll give you an update on the story I did during the week where the young man went to the Bahamas, I want to say it was, with his family, and the mom was 10 toes down that they beat him up. Well, they declared his death a drowning. But the wild part is they still have not released the body to the family. You got to be careful when you go away. Be careful when you go away. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button. I'll see you in the next video.